Good afternoon. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Tumi Tladi, and finally, now we get to do Xamarin series. Finally, as you can see that I have my mobile device, a physical device being mirrored from my physical phone, my smartphone to my laptop. And before we go any further, let's go to Visual Studio. And yeah, it has been a long time since I worked on my laptop, and I haven't done any development work here because I do development work on my main computer. So I thought that I should do the Xamarin series so I can show the live demo of the actual app. So let's not waste time. Let's go to Git Changes tab. I do have a previous series that I just completed. It's called Is Dot Net Web API. Prior that, I completed a series on version control. Prior that, I completed a series on Solution Explorer. So please do watch all the videos on my YouTube channel so you can understand, because some of the things I did, they have led to this moment, including what I'm about to do. Currently, I'm on master branch. So the first thing I'm going to do, obviously, there's a lot coming down. So I'm going to fetch everything. Okay, so while it's initiating fetch, I'm excited because I have the actual device. Here it is, I'm not going to depend on using the mouse, but I'm going to use my finger to do. So this is the app we're going to be focusing on, Identical Docs. Yeah, so this is my physical device. I'm excited. It's going to be fantastic. Okay, so let's do one thing at a time. You see, it's pulling a lot. How many commits? 190 in total since the last time I worked on this machine. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to initiate pull now. So I did first. Now I'm initiating pull. And then we need this so that all the changes that were made while I was working on my main computer can now reflect on this laptop. Okay, so this video, it's a video of overview for Xamarin, or should I say overview of Xamarin. I'm gonna do two things in the same video. We're gonna look at the overview of Xamarin, and then we're also gonna be looking at the next evolution of Xamarin.Forms, which is .Net Maui. Just a brief what .Net Maui is all about, everything about it. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to show with the physical device that the app is not coming directly from Visual Studio. Instead, the app is coming directly from Google Play Store. And then we're going to look at all of that. Okay, so this should be interesting. Now, one thing though to note about the app that's currently deployed and published and deployed on Google Play Store is that Google had warned me, I think around March, that listen, beginning August towards September, we're gonna need your users, when they download your app, they should use the highest API level. I believe currently I'm on API level 29, if not 30, but I think it's Android 11. No, I'm using Android 10. And then they require me, it's a must, that I should upgrade everything to Android 11. And I know that when it comes to moving from Android 10 to 11, there's going to be some breaking changes. There are certain things I know personally that are going to take place. Because one functionality is going to be disturbed when I move from Android 10 to 11. And then what else? Other than that, they also require me not to use APK files anymore to publish to Google Play Store, but we should use, I believe it's App Bundle. I still need to go back to my iPad and then do look at those inbox messages in my inbox from Google Play Store team, Okay, so I'm still waiting for this to load. I'm not expecting Visual Studio to hang. The reason being, this is the old version of a Visual Studio. I'm not gonna upgrade now. This IDE, so I'm expecting it to be performant. This laptop has at least some graphics, so it should be able to handle all the workload. So now we are back in business. So I'm waiting for this confirmation that this should be 0 and 0, not 0 and 190. So let's give it a couple of seconds, because it does say repository updated to commit. That means the latest commit. So I'm expecting that 190 incoming commit should disappear to be 0 incoming, because we're gonna need to look at the code heavily in Visual Studio, so I'm excited about it. I am excited. Okay, this guy doesn't wanna. Should I give it? Let's give it a couple of seconds. In the meantime, let me do this. So we need this document to help us. It's gonna be our roadmap, like the topics we're about to cover. I know right now I'm gonna do overview. We're gonna look at a lot of things that went into Xamarin. We'll talk about Xamarin. Let's do this. Come on. Okay, so Xamarin series. So we're gonna be using this document, referring back to it, checking the milestone where we are currently, what will be the next video to cover on the next session. So let me open this guy. So this video number 1, it's overview of Xamarin.Forms. In fact, the framework itself, Xamarin, it's a framework, and then there's a Xamarin.Forms, and there's a Xamarin.Android and Xamarin.iOS. I believe there's also Xamarin.UWP, but this one is Xamarin.Forms. So I should do this. Number 1. Okay, let's do this. Xamarin series. And then there's gonna be overview of Xamarin. I missed typing on this laptop. Then the second thing we're gonna look at, I don't know, should I call it project structure or architecture? Let's call it structure. Well, these are my own terms. Structure. So we're gonna look at shared, we're gonna look at Android, and we're gonna look at iOS project. We'll talk about them. Okay, this needs to be covered. I don't know what happened behind the scenes. I don't like that. So in here we're gonna look at what is Xamarin.Forms. We're gonna look at what is .Net Maui, and then yeah, and then the rest of the videos we're gonna look at them. Well, let's see if Visual Studio is completed. So they require me to do this. It's fine, we can do this. Accept. In the meantime, okay, so we need Firefox. So yes, I believe that my computer can handle the workload and everything. I believe so. I haven't used like this computer. I only use it to prepare these videos, but it hasn't been online connected to the internet, I think, for about 2.5 months now, literally. Or should I say, no, I'll be lying. No, I'll be lying. It can't be 2.5. Roughly a month and a half, something like that. Yeah, but we'll see. I'm excited. I'm really excited. To my fellow recruiters, those that are gonna be, watching these videos, you're about to be impressed. You're about to be impressed. So, I'm gonna download this guy behind the scenes in the meantime. Okay, what is Xamarin? I know you can do this yourself. It's fine, but I want to give you my own theory of what Xamarin is. Another thing, by the way, it's gonna be this. I'm not hired by Microsoft because now Microsoft owns Xamarin because they acquired Xamarin many years ago. So I'm not hired by either Xamarin team or Microsoft team to do this. No, I do this out of the goodness of my heart to help somebody, because I did watch a lot of videos. I did read a lot of documentation articles, blogs. That's how I acquired this knowledge, and this is self-taught knowledge. A fun fact is this: CUT did not teach me mobile development. They only taught me Java, a typical Java in Android, using Android Studio. And by the way, I hate Android Studio. I do have it, but I hate it. Where is it? Here it is. I only do it to help the students at CUT, but other than that, I hate it. I'm a C# enthusiastic, and then I'm a Visual Studio developer. I hate Android Studio. Okay, so Xamarin is a Microsoft-owned San Francisco-based software company founded in May 2011 by the engineers that created Mono and Xamarin.Android and Xamarin.iOS, which are cross-platform implementations of common language infrastructure and common language. So now you know. So it's a subsidiary of Microsoft. Cool. So you know when it was founded. But what is Xamarin? So where do we start? Okay, Xamarin is a .NET developer platform made up of tools, programming languages, and libraries for building many different types of applications. Xamarin supplies add-ins to Microsoft Visual Studio that allows developers to build Android, iOS, and Windows apps within the IDE using code completion and intelligence. Let me look officially from Xamarin Documentation. And another thing, if you want to learn Xamarin, I'm not a React developer. I'm not, we have Reactive Native. We have what? Flutter. I'm not developer, for Flutter or React. I'm a Xamarin developer. But if you want to learn Xamarin, there's a place to start: documentation for Xamarin. So what is Xamarin? Quickly. The most important thing is this word, open source. Xamarin is an open source platform for building modern and performant applications for iOS, Android, and Windows with .NET. Xamarin is an abstraction layer that manages communication of shared code with underlying platform code. Xamarin runs in a managed environment that provides conveniences such as memory allocation and garbage collection. Xamarin enables developers to share an average of 90%, and that's exactly what I did. We'll talk about this in our next video when we look at project structure. I like to call it project structure. When I talk about the shared, the 90% of the code went into the shared project. So to share an average of 90% of their application cross-platform, this pattern allows developers to write all of their business logic in a single language or reuse existing application code, but achieve native performance, look, and feel on each platform. Okay, cool. Xamarin applications can be written on PC or Mac and compiled to native application packages such as APK file on Android or an IPA file on iOS. So we are done. Now, we're going to look at .NET Maui, but in a second. What I want to do, let me check our friend Visual Studio, installing Android SDK platform 30, okay. It's still going. Great. We'll come back and check. Now, I want to go to Google Play Store. I think it's play dot .com, because then we're about to check my app, the one that was developed using Xamarin. So let's see if this is gonna work. Yes, that's perfect. There's something I need to remove from here. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna search identical docs. Or should we do this? Let's search Tumi Tladi. Let's see if I'm on the list. There we go. So this is me, Tumi Tladi, with identical docs. Cool. So the app here, this is me, as you can see. Fantastic. And featured, yes, this is my app. And identical docs. More apps are coming because currently I'm in the midst of a new system called C versus C. Although initially it has a Xamarin project catering iOS and Android, I intend to move into .NET Maui. I'll talk about that when I do .NET Maui, but I want to look at this app. So this is the actual app. No more using the screenshots. I'm going to use the actual device. There we go. So this is the app. We'll talk about almost everything. I'll come back to this when I do the first feature called version updates, and then you will learn about that feature, you know, as far as a Xamarin application is concerned. So this is the actual app, and then on the physical device, okay, this guy is still installing. Let's minimize this guy. And then on the physical device, we're gonna go to Play Store, and then we're gonna search for identical docs, and there we go. It says it's currently installed, because this is very important. Yes, it's installed, and yeah, so I just want to show that yes, it's currently installed, and then this is the actual app. Yeah, so now we know this. Another thing that's critical about this app is to do this, where we look at app info, because we're still going to come back to the app info a couple of times. We're going to look at permissions, particularly permissions, but what I want to focus on was the version. So the version is 1.0.12, and then the app has been downloaded from Google Play Store. I just want to show this. It's coming from Google Play Store. Okay, so we'll talk about that a bit later on. Cool. So we read what Xamarin is. Now we're going to look at .NET Maui in a second. Okay, it's moving Android component to its destination path. Come back to it. Okay. The next thing that we need to look at is what is .NET Maui? Because this is very important. What is .NET Maui? Give this guy a couple of seconds. There we go. I believe it also has it on the documentation. Yes. Which one do I wanna? Yes. So this is the actual documentation. It does have its own, yes. So .NET Maui, which is multi-platform app UI, lets you build native apps using a .NET cross-platform UI toolkit that targets the mobile and desktop form factors on Android, iOS, including Mac OS, Windows, and Tizen. Now this is a fantastic thing. So let's go. What is .NET Maui? I'll probably come back to this YouTube channel at a later stage and show an app developed using .NET Maui because I'm excited. So, okay, so we know that it's a cross-platform framework for creating native mobile and desktop apps with C# and XAML. Using .NET Maui, you can develop apps that can run on Android, iOS, Mac OS, and Windows from a single shared code base. We'll talk about that. So for the mere fact that we can target Mac OS, it's fantastic now. Okay, now this is why I wanted to do this. .NET Maui is open source. Again, keyword. open source, and is the evolution of Xamarin.Forms, extended from mobile to desktop scenarios with UI controls rebuilt from the ground up for performance and extensibility. If you've previously used Xamarin.Forms to build cross-platform user interface, you'll notice many similarities with .NET Maui. However, there are also some differences. Using .NET Maui, you can create multi-platform apps using a single project, but you can add platform-specific source code and reuse resources if necessary. One of the key aims of .NET Maui is to enable you to implement as much of your app logic and UI layout as possible in a single code base. And we'll talk about this. The reason why, I know you can read this, but I will also show stuff like I don't know why this number is still here, but it's fine. Because one of the things I want to show is when we get to Android, that's what we call renderers. So .NET Maui, it's getting rid of renderers. So there are so many things that you can learn before you get to .NET Maui. You should start with .NET Xamarin.Forms. So I'm gonna mark this project moving forward as a startup project. Right, like I said, I'm expecting Visual Studio not to become unresponsive, although I'm aware that I'm doing a lot of things behind the scenes, but I'm hoping that I'm gonna have a seamless experience for this series, because there's so much that we need to look at. There's so much like this, absolutely so much that we need to look at. Okay. Should I run the app just the first time? Yes, we can. 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 I'm waiting for Visual Studio to become responsive. I'm really sorry and I apologize for this delay. I was hoping that this process will be seamless because it should be seamless. Okay. Come on, please be patient with me. I promise you that this is still easy, good stuff. I just want to get to this part where I said this project to be a startup. I'm sure he's gonna do this behind the scenes. So okay, now I think we are done with our research, right? Yeah, we are done with our research. Now the next thing that we're gonna be doing, wait, let's set an expectation. Let me first show the app. I'm running it. We'll talk about splash screen. That's the first thing we need to talk about. Splash screen. Splash screen. And we'll talk about the things that I've noticed during this time. We'll talk about what you saw spinning there. So there's my app, Identical Docs. Okay. So let's update this guy. We should talk about the splash screen, because I struggle a lot. I said splash, not slash. Splash screen. And then we'll talk about because instantly after splash screen is gonna go for version updates. It's a feature. Please watch my previous series on web API where I talked about version updates. I even demonstrated this from the web. We'll do all that. Version update. So this is a feature, the actual feature. And then from here, what else can we talk about? That guy that spinned, we call that busy indicator. So when we talk about busy indicator, this is where we need to introduce sync fusion. So I'm gonna say busy indicator from sync fusion. It's a service provider, sync fusion. I think it's one word. Yeah, sync fusion. and then we'll take it from there. So here we should talk about this start screen. Yes, what you choose and what is the use case for this. I believe this is start screen. Yes. Oh no, it's not screen. It's called pages in Xamarin. Startup page. Okay, so let me save this. So let's go and take a look at how this guy can help us. Because everything now lives in a shared code. I'm just going to look at certain things I want to talk about. But maybe we should start with what's unique when it comes to Android and iOS. Because as soon as... Yeah, but now, wait. This video will help us to understand project structure. What are these stuff without getting into details? Yes, including iOS. Yes, but the one thing I want to get to, we should talk about after splash screen, we should talk about this class called app.xaml, because that's a guy that launches everything. So after splash screen, okay, now I'm losing the count. So we should talk about this class called app.xaml. What's the purpose of this class? It's very, very important because there's a lot that goes into this guy, especially the code behind, and there's a lot that's going to be introduced. So I won't be able to do this, right now. But just know that there's a lot to cover. We're going to cover everything. Just to give you a sneak peek of this guy. Okay, this guy is still busy installing. Okay, just to show you what goes, come on. If there's any bug that I identify, because I intend to do a lot here, like I did a lot when I was learning the MVC, web portal, web API, I fixed a lot of things. I'm not going to do any development using this laptop, but I'm going to do development using my main computer. So anything that I identify, I'm going to fix it right away. So I'm excited. I just want to show this one file. It contains a lot. And one topic that we will need to talk about is app ID. So we should bring that up. So here, we're going to focus on topics such as app ID. We should talk about App Center. There's a lot to show here. And then many more under this topic of app.xaml. So if I were to rearrange this should be number 4. This should be 5. This should be 6. This should be 7. We're going to talk about dependency injection at a later stage. We're going to talk about a lot of things. We're going to talk about this pattern of Mvvm, because this is Mvvm. We have the models, view models, views and view models. So after this, before we talk about splash screen, we should talk about Mvvm, right? Yes, we should talk about the topic of Mvvm architecture. Architecture. If I didn't spell architecture right, well, apologies. So that's what we're going to be talking about. This guy. Okay. What else? We should talk about the services. Mvvm should also include the services. So another topic should be the services. the services folder. Yes, because we do have the services folder, and then we'll look at almost everything. So in a nutshell, there's a lot in here where I get to register Syncfusion license. Wow, what we are here, we need to talk about, let's see, based on the order. So the first thing I want to talk about, it should be Syncfusion. Syncfusion registration. Wait, what am I typing? Registration. We should talk about this package called Xamarin Essentials. Xamarin Essentials. This one is a big one. Essentials. And I'll make a video specifically for this one. In fact, split screen, and then we'll talk about Xamarin Essentials. I should make this independent video. Okay. With stuff like shared preferences that are coming from Xamarin Essentials. So these are things you see. Xamarin Essentials, I'm excited about that. And then this guy also, Xamarin Essentials. This is Syncfusion. And I want to talk about App Center, App ID. First App Center and then App ID. So this should be App Center. Why do we generate App ID, and why is it being useful? App Center has analytics. Yeah, so there's a lot in here, absolutely a lot, and you see how my code is very clean and everything. I'm excited. There's so much that we need to learn. So yeah, let's meet on the next video I intend to do tomorrow, where we're gonna start with the topic of project structure. Right now we did cover what is Xamarin.Forms and what is Dot Net Maui, so it's safe to mark this thing as done. Save. I know that this content is good. I promise you that it's good, and you're gonna be wowed by this app, how I build it, what's Xamarin and everything. It's good. It's good. With that being said, please like the video, leave the comment if you have any thought, any suggestion, anything that you have, any inquiry that you might have, leave it down on the comment section below. And then also please watch my other previous videos. Most importantly, subscribe and then click on the notification bell to be notified when I drop videos, because I'm gonna make a lot of videos. With that being said, thank you very much, and until